There is nothing better than a good tavern. It's a place to meet up with your buddies, swap some stories, play some games, enjoy some finely crafted beverages, maybe get in a drunken brawl or two, and hear about all the local gossip and what's been going on around town. It's no wonder that so many great D&D adventures start in a tavern. And when your party goes to a new town, the first place they want to stop is the local watering hole. Now, sometimes if you're running a module, they'll provide you with some basic information about the tavern you're visiting, but a lot of the time as a DM, you just have to wing it. But what if you could just pull an entire tavern off the shelf, just like you do one of these awesome epic encounter boxes from Steamforged games? Well, today is your lucky day, my friend. This is a paid preview for the new Kickstarter for Epic Encounters Local Legends, which provides you with everything you need to run multiple tavern-centric adventures. This is the most epic of the epic encounter boxes so far. To be completely honest, I'm kind of in awe about how much this set is bringing to the table. If you play D&D, and I've never said this about any project we've talked about before, this may be as close to a must-buy as I've seen. If you're already sold like I am, you can visit the Kickstarter page using the link in the eye in the corner of your screen right now, and using that link will let them know that we sent you. But let's talk about the basics first. This set is going to give you 10 complete taverns to drop into your adventures, 2 of which are exclusive to the Kickstarter campaign. Each individual tavern gets the full Epic Encounters treatment. The books will provide information about the tavern, including its history, what makes it unique, what specialties it has on the menu, 6 or so NPCs whom your party will meet there, various plot hooks for the tavern, a unique bar game that your players can enjoy there, and a local legend that can lead to well, an epic encounter. To support all this, you get the books, obviously, plus a double-sided tavern art piece featuring the interior and exterior of each tavern, NPC cards, a rule card for the tavern game, plus a little flyer to play the game on like it's a board game, encounter maps for those local legends, plus, of course, minis. And that's just for one of the taverns. You get all of that for all of them. And like all of the Epic Encounter boxes, you can adjust the tier of play to match your tastes or where you are in your ongoing campaign. Today, I'm just going to preview just one of the 10 taverns featured in the campaign, the Nodding Dragon. Just flipping through this little sample booklet, you can get a sense of what we have to offer. You have NPC information with art and stat blocks, story and setting information, and an encounter. In the final product, they are separating these components into separate tavern, NPC, and encounter books to make things a little bit more convenient for you. The Nodding Dragon may be the most traditional tavern in the set, the kind that you would find at a crossroads in a town or a city, or maybe even floating on the back of an ancient dragon turtle in the astral sea. It's quite large and popular, and it features 24 tables and a good reputation. The centerpiece of the room is a large oven shaped like the head of a dragon, and a huge cauldron serving up the chef's special stew made only from local ingredients. The innkeepers, Porthos and Agatha Gimes, run a tight ship and are quick to shut down any brewing trouble before it gets out of hand. It's about as safe and welcoming a space as any traveler is likely to find, and the second floor features both shared and private rooms for those wishing to stay the night. The book gives you details about the house specialties, including Agatha's famous mutton stew, and 2 brews on tap called Porthos's Back Hair and Dragon Bellied Brew. And of course, there is a local tavern game called Push Your Luck. It uses this rule card here and this 8.5 by 11-inch handout. The game is a bit like blackjack. Anyone competing just has to throw in 10 gold pieces, and then they need to roll some dice. You can roll a d4, a d6, a d8, a d10, a d12, and or a d20, whatever you want in whatever order you want. Whoever gets closest to 21 without going bust is the winner, and the rules card has a few additional rules I'll leave you to discover. The book also gives you 4 potential plot hooks here that you can develop when your party visits the Nodding Dragon. Perhaps Agatha needs some help figuring out why the local supply of mutton has suddenly dried up, or why the horses stabled at the inn woke up the next morning all suddenly being able to speak common. Now you get quite a bit of information about the 6 featured NPCs, including both Porthos and Agatha, Margaret Vince, the bar help, Jerome Wedge, the local blacksmith, Squire Gent, the nobleman, and Malvolio the wise, whose business card just reads trickster/con artist. You get art and a complete stat block for each person, including unique actions and abilities for all of them. The book also provides, for each of them, background and role-playing information, a sentence or 2 about the first thing your PC notices about them when they meet, which I think is a great touch, and how to navigate conversations with them. So let me just give you an example. Jerome Wedge has a sordid history that's written across his scarred face, face, and years working the anvil have given him arms that would impress an 80s-era professional wrestler and the talent to match. His CR10 stat block includes, among other things, bonuses to ability checks using his blacksmithing tools, and a bonus to attacks against foes wearing metal armor, as he knows just how to exploit their weaknesses. When PCs are interacting with him, the DC of the check to influence him are influenced by how they treat him. They can lower the DC by showing an interest in his work or his tools, and they can raise that DC if they uncouthly ask him about his scars. The book then tells you how he responds to both successful and failed attempts to chat him up, and some things that he can provide to the party if they do successfully make an impression on him, including a unique and magical piece of armor that he'd be willing to sell them, and true to the title of the box, each tavern features a local legend that will eventually lead to an encounter. Successfully interacting with each of these NPCs gives you a little bit more information, some more clues about the nature and location of that encounter. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much about the local legend discussed in hushed tones at the Nodding Dragon Tavern, but let me just tease it up for you just a little bit. And it gives me the opportunity to show you the prototype minis that feature in the Nodding Dragon adventure. For years, the local area has been home to an owlbear that seems to be far more cunning and aggressive than your typical owlbear. Locals refer to him as the owlbear, or just as that feathery bastard. And I can confirm to you that he is smarter than your average owlbear. Some locals even whisper that they've seen him casting magical spells, but that's pretty hard to believe. The book contains the special features of the environment where the final confrontation will take place, which uses this included map, which is 17 by 23 inches in size. It also has the complete and true history of the owlbear, information on the journey the party will have to make to find it, including looking for the various clues for its location, and the owlbear stat block, and a page detailing its strategy and advice on making the encounter as cinematic and memorable as possible. And then there's information about what happens after the battle, which I will leave you to discover. The story also features this character here, who has a mini included in the set, and whom I'm going to leave as a mystery for you to discover. The mini should be exactly what you expect if you've purchased an Epic Encounter box before. They are gorgeously sculpted and very well made. They come fully assembled but unpainted. We've reviewed every single Epic Encounters box so far, and we have 2 others coming up on the channel in the coming weeks, including this one here. So check those out if you want to see why the Epic Encounter series has taken off like a rocket. So let's go over the various pledge tiers. The core pledge is $80, which is 50% off the final retail price, so yeah, you're going to want to get in on this. It includes a 120 plus page PDF adventure book, 10 minigame flyers, an 80 plus page tavern book, an 80 plus page NPC book, a 30 plus page pub crawl book, which will string the taverns together into a grand campaign adventure, 10 tavern ungridded art maps, 60 NPC cards, and 10 minigame rules cards, the owlbear and the other mini that I showed you from the Nodding Dragon Tavern, a ghost pirate and 3 ghost miniatures from the Salt and Kraken Tavern, a night hag and 3 will-o-wisps from the Silver Purse, a berserker and 3 flying swords from the Mace and Flail Tavern, 2 double-sided encounter maps, and a 16 plus page encounter book. So that's 14 minis in all, 4 of which are fearsome boss minis on a large size 50mm or 2-inch base. You can choose the Just the Taverns pledge as well, which is only $45. It contains the adventure PDF, the physical tavern and NPC books, the 60 NPC cards, the pub crawl book, linking it all together, the 10 minigame flyers, the 10 rule cards, and the 10 double-sided tavern art pieces. So you're just missing the minis and the encounter book and those maps. You can also back at the digital pledge tier, which is only $20. You'll get the PDF version of the long adventure book, which contains the 10 ready-to-play taverns, complete with the plot hooks, the unique NPCs, and more. And finally, you can go with the all-in pledge at $160, which includes everything in the core pledge, plus 24 more minis, including a green dragon and 2 mangrove trees from the Huntsman Stag Tavern, a giant Diamas and 3 giant bats from the Shady Nook Tavern, a Kickstarter exclusive Ifriti and 5 fire elementals from the Velvet Dreams, a wraith and 4 specters from the Silver Purse, a griffin and trapped horse from the Golden Griffin Tavern, and a Kickstarter exclusive hill giant, and 3 boulders from the Droughty Rabbit Tavern. There are also 5 double-sided encounter maps instead of 2, and additional encounters bringing the encounter book to over 40 pages instead of 16. And there's a polyhedral dice set and a custom DM screen. That pledge is discounted $150 from the eventual retail price and features those Kickstarter exclusive minis, which won't be readily accessible outside of the Kickstarter campaign. Now, I'm making this video before the Kickstarter launches, so be aware that some of the things may have changed, and everything I've shown you today is a prototype. Go visit the Kickstarter page using the link in the eye in the corner of your screen up there to see the latest information and to pledge. During the course of the Kickstarter campaign, they're going to be taking backer input to create more NPCs, so be sure to follow along with it, and maybe you'll see some of your ideas incorporated into the final product. If you've got any questions for us, leave them for me down below. If I don't know the answers, I can find somebody who will. If you do decide to back the project, it would be a tremendous favor to us if you let them know in the Kickstarter comments that you learned about them from the Gallant Goblin. And if you're new to us, you can find our channel over on YouTube, where we review minis, terrain, TTRPG books, and accessories, and a lot more. You can join our Discord server to chat about the latest happenings, and you can find the latest news by following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For now, stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.